Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, the big and furry bovine. Joining me right now in the chat, Brian from Phoenix, an
Hello.
ex regular, but I think he's more like migratory when it comes to football season because he doesn't really want to talk about the Guardians and all that kind of stuff. Or the Cavaliers, but the Browns. Yeah, football season
Well,
is
the Cavaliers are my last hill to die on as far as Cleveland sports.
Okay. All right. Well,
So I do follow them during the regular season, and
well, that's good.
I don't always comment on them if I do like a post game live stream, and so
Deep
and I'm
down,
basically for this season. I think I've just kind of cut down to just doing that. So I'll be doing the Panthers post games.
all right.
So
But deep down, you still have sentiment toward the Cleveland Browns.
well, more for the city, but
Right.
yeah,
That's what I mean.
and Nick Chubb is not only one of my all-time favorite football players, but he's just a genuinely good dude, and I'll support that guy no matter what fucking uniform
There are a
he's
number of
wearing.
really good people in the
And so,
organization. So, today we're going to be talking a little bit. Hey, Gemini, how you doing? You start seeing familiar faces and names come popping in because football season's right around the corner. The description of the show says, "Yeah, we're going to talk." It's like this is a pregame show. It is in the sense that tomorrow at 4:25 there's a game. Uh, and
yeah,
I'm not.
my game's actually after that. So,
Oh, I'm not analyzing the pregame, or excuse me, the game itself because nobody's playing in the game. I mean, you're going to be seeing DTR starting at quarterback, and then you're going to see Huntley coming in after that. So, that's but there are some uh, tough things that are happening out of Berea, and we want to be able to talk about some of the problems that the Browns are currently facing, and we're running out of time to fix them. And hi, Double P, hi to I. Hello. And let's start by talking about what I think is the elephant in the room.
or as I
And
called it, the chocolate elephant in the room when we were
uh,
backstage, and that's the situation going on with Mike Hall. And you know, I the charges seem very legit. It's still got to run its investigative course, and if he gets charged and prosecuted. But you know something, I hope this dude is ever by a professional football field. Or I don't want him coaching kids. I don't want him coaching high school. I don't want him coaching college
the thing that bothers
because,
me,
well, and if he is willing to pull a gun and put it in somebody's face,
yeah.
the next time he's going to pull the motherfucking trigger.
Well, that's just it. It was, it's a lot like when John Morant, the player for the Memphis Grizzlies, was
Hmm.
winging his gun all over the place and flashing guns in front of people. It's a matter of time until something bad happens. And in this instance, there were a number of scouting reports on him when he was eligible for the draft that said that he has an immense character issue. We didn't hear about any of that. There was nobody addressing that within the Browns organization. And and here's a guy who got paid $4.6 million. And I know compared to other athletes, that may not seem much, but believe me, $4.6 million is a lot of money. And if you invest it correctly, it can last a lifetime. And it's the guy obviously has such an emotional, deep rooted problem that he could not contain himself in a situation. And I guess the way that I fill in the blanks is uh, the child and the woman that he's living with, it's not his child. And she is still in touch with the father, which would not be unusual because of visitation and because of any.
Child support.
That's right, child support that's going on. But she refused to unlock her phone to show the content of the messages. And that amount blew him up to the point where he grabbed the daughter's stuff and threw it out the front door, and basically then grabbed the daughter and dragged her across pavement across to get out of the house, and then took up with her, and that started in a push and shove and ended up with him bringing two weapons which were found in the scene, a Glock, and I forget which the other one, a Smith and Wesson maybe. I'm trying to remember what the other gun was, but there were, as she recounted to the police, there were in fact two different guns. And I, for the life of me, I don't understand how people with character issues like this, just walking around in an open carry world, it's fucking dangerous. And you know how I feel about that. But when people don't have all of their marbles and they don't have control over themselves, it there doesn't seem to be, and I'm gonna it's gonna be the last I talk about Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson did not threaten anybody's life, did not have a weapon of destruction in his hands, and did not drag well
Oh, maybe a weapon of vaginal destruction.
I can't speak for that. But on the other hand, he was not found guilty in a court of law, but a civil suit took him down, and his behavior was not acceptable. But this is not acceptable. This is prison worthy. If it
No,
turns
this is a guy that could very easily tomorrow turn into Ray Caruth. And I'm sorry, I don't have room in my world for Ray Caruths.
right. I mean, look, Double P. Uh, how many people do we know from the past in the draft who had first round talent who dropped because of all kinds of personal issues? And we were talking about this with Pickens. The Steelers ended up getting him, and what a head case he's become over there, and a distraction to that organization. And
And
we
that
haven't even seen the worst of that yet for the Pittsburgh
and that was
Steelers.
and remember how Fish Basket was, praising him to high heaven because he was God's gift to football.
Yeah, and there she is, Mushel, and she's here in the chat room. So again, it's like the
Really?
Swallows to Capistrano. Everything old is new again. So it's nice to see Mushel in the chat room, of course. But there are so many people that have dropped precipitously, and it's like, should we take a chance on him? And so, the one time that the Browns select the talent, he ends up being disturbed. Okay. We don't go for the talent when we have all of our round by round picks. We let wide receivers just fall off the board, and we would never go with the proven product. We would always be reaching for the Schwartzes and the for people who they run fast but they don't catch well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they they could be like my team and be 1 year wonders, and then when they actually have to go against NFL competition, they forget how to catch a football.
Yeah, and so the one time we do this, and look what happens. And we did it also with Josh Gordon, and it started out good, but it sure didn't end up well. So you know, uh, and
And how many and in Josh's case, they kept giving him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and finally it's you got to fish or cut bait.
Yeah. And it always comes to that either sooner or later. But this is the fact that he could not control himself and that he's going to lose $4.6 million in his freedom, perhaps, because of this tells you that there's nothing you can do for this guy. And certainly putting him on the defensive line and playing professional football is not going to make him a more pacifistic person. So it's that's a royal mess. And it's something that I don't want somebody like that playing on my team. And it's like the same reason that Trevor Bauer, I didn't want him pitching for my team. You put your hands around a woman's throat and strangle her until she passes out. I don't care what kind of a sick fuck she may have been. If you have the ability to choke somebody so hard that they pass out and their neck is bruised, you are an assault person, you know? And it looks like Michelle is trying to get my attention. Hey. Yeah, she's more concerned about quarterback 1 and quarterback 2.
Trevor Bauer could choke me out any day. Yeah.
All righty then.
I guess he's in for the paycheck. Or the payday.
Yeah, God almighty. So at any rate, the problem that I see right now is not quarterback 1 and quarterback 2. The problem is the offensive line. And there is something I wanted to point out because all of the Baker bros are just ready to jump all over Deshaun Watson if he fails this year. And I'll say this about Baker Mayfield. He had the good version, the healthier version of the offensive line when they were really good. When these guys were actually playing almost all the games, he was the one who was the beneficiary of the good blocking scheme that got the running game going so that we had 2 running backs, one, atmospherically great, running back and Nick Chubb.
And a Pro Bowl center.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah, we were loaded on the front line and we had gotten, the right offensive line coach and everything was in the right place. And so that's what accompanied the success of Baker Mayfield. It's not one person who does this. It's a team effort. The problem with the Browns right now is that these injuries, and they knew damn well that, these guys are not going to be healthy. Jack Conklin is never going to be healthy. And it doesn't matter whether it's before the season, 2 games into the season, 4 games into the season, he's going to miss time. And, you're hoping that DeWand is going to come back. But he's looks like a slow healer. We've got, and then we lost Whippler and we lost another center. So we have, the backup center that we have is somebody who wasn't really good enough to ever win the position of center in any of his NFL experience. He was more known for being a lead blocker in short yardage situations. It's Double P Conklin now playing, coming off another season of being injured. He's still injured and he's not playing, and it'll be just a matter of time until he goes down. And what we're seeing in these little scrimmages that are going on is that there's no pass protection, and that it's not just one place. It's like the little Dutch boy. You put your finger in one hole and you try to plug it up, it leaks from 3 other holes. And the fact that we're trying to teach a new offensive scheme to every player on the team, including a bunch of second and third string people who have never played in the NFL in many cases. I mean, when I was looking at the people who are the backup offensive linemen, two of the three of them had never even played in a game in the NFL. So they're practice squad players. You're not going to get it done that way. And if you can't run the football, I'm not talking about Nick Chubb playing or not playing. If you're not blocking up front and able to get some decent yardage in the running game, and if you're dealing with the feet of clay at the line of scrimmage, Ford, who does not have a better idea, he should be running toward the hole and blasting. Instead, he always has mental pauses and ends up running east and west. You've got Deontay Foreman, who is playing in these little scrimmages now, but he's one hit away because he's been hurt so much of his career, and he's more of a short distance runner at this point in his career. And that's just running the football. If you end up in third and long situations, God help whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Jameis Winston, whether it's Deshaun Watson, whether it's DTR, whether it's Huntley, you're going to end up with the same thing that we've been dealing with, which is three tight ends to keep people in to block and short patterns. And this is not the recipe of having a downfield throwing offense. So,
and having a defense that will sit on those routes because they know exactly what's coming.
That's right. I mean, they just squash the field down in verticality wise.
And for my team, it's kind of the same thing where it's very questionable how long roadkill will actually have to throw a football. So,
and one of the things that I've been reading multiple accounts of what's happening in these practices, the one-on-ones with the Vikings. And there is one thing that is happening that worries me, and that's that Deshaun Watson is holding on to the ball for too long. And this is partially a lack of playing time and timing thing. It's also uncertainty with receivers. He doesn't know Jerry Jeudy from a hole in the wall. And he's coming into a scheme and a system that he's learning at the same time that Jameis Winston is. And I'm not convinced of anything at this point. If you told me that Jameis Winston ends up being the quarterback this year, I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised. I know that Watson's going to get the first shot. He's throwing a lot of interceptions here in these scrimmages in the red zone. And it's because he's holding onto the ball too long. And the timing and the offensive line on the snap cadence has been off really bad in the first practice. The second practice, they cleaned it up somewhat, but they were still giving up just a ton of sacks. And if that happens, you won't have to worry about Deshaun Watson because he'll be hurt and he won't be playing. So let's bring Bronk onto the stage. Hi, Bronk.
Whoa. You gotta hold up the Hedgehog of Doom.
No, not yet. It's too early.
No, he got rid of the king of Hollywood Squares yesterday.
Peter Marshall?
Peter Marshall.
He's dead?
He's dead. Everybody's dead.
So he was the X.
Exactly. He's got a big X on his eyes, both of them.
Well, he outlived Rosemary.
And probably Wally Cox as well.
Well, Wally Cox killed himself.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. What was the story there?
He put a gun in his mouth. I'm not kidding. He suffered from depression.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then Paul Lynde, he was a mess. Alcoholism and,
Yeah.
And Amsterdam does a great Paul Lynde impression.
Impersonation, yeah.
Great impersonation of
Gee,
Paul
I can't
Lynde.
imagine why.
Hey! there's hope for you yet, Amsterdam. The Olympics. All right. I love doing this to people for no apparent
Oh
reason.
my god!
Okay. We'll move
Thank
along.
God that was water.
Oh, I got you in the middle of a swallow.
Yes.
Well, you think that's
that's
bad?
a
It happened to Michelle, but
Yeah,
it wasn't
did.
water.
He used to happen to Michelle all the time. Is she here?
Yeah, she's in the
Yeah,
chat room,
she's in
Oh
man.
the
my
chat.
god! Oh,
You gotta-
I just showed up. I was watching the first Premier League game of the year. Then I had to get some food because Moohead doesn't like me eating on the program. So
You got that right.
So
Well, I mean, yeah, because
anyway.
these microphones.
No, we don't want to hear you crunching.
Yes, thank
Correct.
you, thank you. I have somebody who's supporting me.
No,
feel
that's all right. Well,
supported,
you guys
yeah.
carry on your
There you go.
bromance then. I didn't know you were back together again, you two.
We're back
I'll be right back.
together again.
Yeah.
Mark and the guy in Scottsdale, Phoenix, we're back together again. Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, Rick May
Everybody
is
loves
telling
a
us
good
more
bromance.
death. Greg
Death.
Kinn, his life was in jeopardy.
Ba-boom.
And Jack Russell from Great White. Wow.
Oh,
What was Great
really?
White's hit, Rick?
Oh God.
Not Once Bitten, Twice Shy. That was not Great White, was it?
Oh.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No, I think that was theirs.
They all sounded alike, all of those.
No, I get confused because there was Great White and White Lion, and they were two separate fucking
Oh,
bands.
that's true. Once Bitten, Twice Shy. Okay, I got that right. But now you bring up the other one. Who is the other one?
White Lion.
White Lion.
They did the theme song for the animated version of the Transformers movie.
Ah, but they had a hit on the radio too, and I don't remember.
Once bitten, twice
Wait.
shy. Was,
I think it was called Wait, and then they had another.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And
Yeah,
then there was another song that was kind of popular.
Anyway,
That's
that Once Bitten, Twice Shy, it wasn't even their song. It was Ian Hunter's, wasn't it?
That may well be the case because Ian Hunter wrote
Ian
a bunch
Hunter
of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think it was even their song, but yeah, I'm sure that was one of their big hits. But to say it was their song is not totally correct.
Poor Peter Marshall, I feel bad.
Peter Marshall, very dead.
Yeah, he for the block. He's blocked.
Yeah, he got tic-tac-doed.
Yes, he did. He got Wink Martindale.
What was that?
Oh, when the children cry, that was the one. When the children cry. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
That was a horrible era for music, wasn't it?
The hair bands all sounded like Bon Jovi, and that was scary enough,
Yeah, with that little voice box Peter Frampton thing going on.
Peter Frampton though was a great guitarist.
Well, thank you, Rick.
Off. That era, we actually did get some decent music.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
thank you. Another Ian Hunter reference.
Yeah.
And very few people know
Ross.
that he wrote the song "Ships" that Barry Manilow had a hit with.
Barry Manilow.
We're two ships that pass in the night. That's an Ian Hunter song.
He's still alive, Barry Manilow.
Oh God, have you seen him though?
No, I haven't. No, we're not friends.
Well, but he's got to be close to 80.
He looks like the aborted child of Siegfried and Roy. I mean, he's had so much plastic surgery on his face.
That wouldn't be legal now, would it?
Peeled back.
Or for the people that are, well, our age and older.
Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl.
If you ever wanted to know what Barbara Streisand would look like as a man, Barry Manilow.
Wow.
Ooh.
I think Tom Jones is older than Barry Manilow, though.
Yeah, Tom Jones, and he can
still
sing.
sings.
Yeah,
he
really
was here
impressive.
in Plymouth a few months ago, or last year, or whatever. I don't know.
There was an article that talked about, sacking Bork.
It's got the N and the R around the wrong way.
About about sacks. Okay,
Sacks.
no SAX, Michelle.
Steve?
Sacks.
Yeah, and
Not
how
Steve.
important it is that the Browns have a vital pass rush. But last year they had 49 sacks, which really the history of the defense of Schwartz is not in sacks, but in pressures. And we saw, unfortunately, as we got more and more injured and we got beat up by the Texans in the playoffs, that we did not have the kind of rush and push that we needed to have. And you got to get people off the field. That's what the Browns did good during the regular season, was they, unlike other Browns defenses, the bend but not break, they would get teams off the field and give the ball to our offense, which then would turn to, whoever was the injured quarterback and say, well, who's playing now? And then DTR would say, I'll give it a shot. And PJ Walker say, I'll give it a shot. So it was important to get the ball back to the offense as much as possible, because 1 out of 6 times you might have scored points. So again, 14 sacks last year for Myles Garrett, but his season was effectively ended because of the shoulder issue. Zadarius Smith had 5.5 sacks, and it just goes down from there. Alex Wright had 5. Ogbo had 4.5. So
Wow.
there was no Robin to Batman in that situation. And all the talk about what you need, the Steelers in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, they finally were usurped as having the most sacks. All those other years, 19, 20, 21, led the league in sacks. But they were not really going to go far in the playoffs because they didn't have a quarterback. They didn't have any kind of an offensive concept.
Well, and they were so beat up by the time they even got to the playoffs.
Right. And the same thing
And
is
usually they'd have to play Baltimore and get steamrolled.
Yeah. And the Ravens were number 1 last year, but they don't have a cogent scoring offense to go along with that really dominant defense. But what makes the Ravens so difficult to play is that their linebacking core, and the same thing is somewhat true these days of the Steelers, not as much as it used to be. The linebacker play really shuts down the run if you're trying to catch somebody by surprise, and the short pass. The Steelers guys could put pressure on the quarterback, and they can actually cover as well. I don't see that the Browns defense is going to be, let me put it to you this way. I don't see it changing in any major way, for the better or for the worse. You saw in their first preseason game, the people who were on the field didn't understand what they were doing. And they were doing basically what Jim Schwartz was suggesting, which was to play aggressively, but they played over aggressively, and they would, all they were doing, the opposition was doing last week, was influence blocking. That's all they were doing. They were just making it look like they were running to the right, and then all the Browns players would over pursue and make the cutback. Right. That's what they were doing. And that is the weakness of this defensive scheme. Jim Schwartz is an aggressive guy. It works when it works, but you can get caught. And when you get caught, there are big gains that you can give up. So, it makes it all the more important that the offense has to have this scheme in place. And it's nowhere near in place. And after tomorrow, we got only one more game, and Deshaun Watson will be starting it. And how long he'll play for. If they start Katie bar the door and they start blasting in on him, they're going to yank him out quick so he doesn't get hurt in a meaningless game. But with the Browns' schedule this year, it's going to be a real challenge.
Well,
And
what day of the week is the Seattle game? Is it
I haven't
Friday,
even looked
Saturday,
ahead that
Sunday,
far.
Monday?
Haven't even looked that far ahead. All I know is that our game is tomorrow at 4:25.
Yeah,
That's all
tomorrow
I know.
9:30 my time.
Right. So, my feeling is that it's going to be a challenge for the Browns in the early part of the season because it's a new system. That's the one part of it. And I'm really concerned about not having running backs who are, I mean, it could be any number of things. It's like not having running backs and not having an offensive line that's, giving those nice gaping zone read kind of zone blocking holes. It's going to be a challenge.
So what happened to go ahead.
August 24th, Bronk.
So that's Saturday again.
Yeah. What time?
And then
Saturday
I think
again.
let me see.
That was a Saturday.
And I brings up a good point. There's going to rain here.
Well,
yeah.
It's going to be 7:00 for me, so maybe a 9:00 game for you guys.
Well, more like fucking
or a
3
10
in the
o'clock
morning
game.
for me.
And where is it? Where is it being played at? I'm sorry.
At Seattle.
Oh,
Seattle.
is this the bluest skies you've ever seen?
And that game is going to be on NFL Network because I think that will be the final game.
Right.
Oh God, yeah, that'll be like 3 in the morning my time. So
that's
shit.
what Deshaun Watson's got is he's going into one of the hardest places to play. Yeah,
and one of the loudest.
Yeah, it's hard to play there.
No, it's preseason, so I can't imagine to be that loud.
And the rain will be a factor tomorrow, and
oh God,
and really it's a you pick 'em between DTR and Huntley. I would tend to think that DTR has the early advantage just because he's younger. Huntley, we've seen.
Is
Huntley doesn't have an
DTR
arm.
DTR a lot cheaper than Huntley, or what's
probably
the value of their? Yeah, you'd assume that, but I don't know whether he's.
I think he's got more experience, more time in the league, so he probably got a little bit higher veteran pay. But I don't think that he's going to be extraordinarily expensive. Maybe $4 or $5 million.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said before, Huntley's, he's a guy, he's probably better than DTR.
The third string quarterbacks around the league. I think everybody now sees Kenny Pickett, trying to play football. He's awful. I mean, he's
awful. He is Cody Kessler.
It was like, he completed 11 of 14 passes, but
did he?
For like 66 yards. Yeah, I mean, he was just dumping things off.
And I tried to tell those Yinzer idiots that Kenny Pickett isn't worth anything, and I hope that the Pittsburgh Steelers pick him because this was going to be the result.
Yeah, well, he's, again, Mark, for God's sakes, I'll be back this year picking games. And,
think about this. They had Neil O'Donnell on the team, and Neil O'Donnell has better stats than Kenny Pickett.
Yeah,
playing in Three Rivers. He played in the old shitty stadium and has better stats.
What's interesting is now we know why former Heisman Trophy winner RG3 was trying to pitch himself to get back in the league with the Browns. They just fired him at ESPN.
Yeah, and he just had a kid last year or something.
What did he do? What did he do to get fired?
No, I mean, they just said, we're bringing in Travis Kelce.
And they also got rid of Sam Ponder.
Oh, really? After all this time?
Yeah.
Poor Sam.
So she'll probably end up on Outkick or something.
Yeah. So at any rate, so you won't be hearing RG3 unless he starts podcasting on his own, and I can guarantee him he could do that tomorrow and have 100 times more viewers than I do.
That won't be hard.
Yeah, and then people are asking the question, we're looking at these running backs. It's like, should we go after Dalvin Cook? And it's like,
No.
Dalvin Cook, up to a couple of years ago, he was a absolute 1,000-yard runner, and then the wheels came off. And I don't know the story about that player, but with Chubb's uncertain return, you got Nyheim Hines, and he's uncertain. Deontay Foreman recently injured. Dalvin Cook, he had 4 consecutive years of Pro Bowl selection and 1,000 yards rushing, and he and Minnesota parted ways, and the Jets picked him up.
Yeah,
you're right. The kiss of death.
They are the hedgehog of doom.
But all it says is that things weren't working out, as he only started 1 game and 15 appearances.
Wow.
And
then Baltimore tried to pick him up ahead of the playoffs, and nothing.
Remember that Minnesota traded for the San Diego or the LA Charger guy.
Oh God, what was he?
And he ended up being the starter, not Eckler. Who is that guy?
Ingram, I don't know. Some started with a vowel, I think.
Yeah.
Ukulele.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know what the Browns are going to have to do, but I'll tell you, I'm not really enthused about,
I got a question. How about those Vikings? How about those Vikings? Are they going to play Sam Darnold?
It's a real problem. I don't understand why they got J.J. McCarthy. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And then look what happens. And so he's gone the whole route. They're replacing his whole meniscus because they feel he's still young enough that he can regenerate. When kids tear a meniscus, they replace it rather than, because for a guy J.J. McCarthy's age, it'll just wear out and he'll end up with arthritis and he'll have a shorter career. But this will take the entire season to heal. And and it's still no guarantee, believe me. There is no guarantee of anything when it gets to this level. But
how do you go into a season with Sam Darnold though as your quarterback? That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know, but you back yourself into paying a guy like Kirk Cousins too much money.
Oh God!
And holding on to him for a prolonged period of time.
Yeah.
And you had nobody behind him. And so that's what happens. It comes to an end and you get caught. And that's when you end up with the Jacoby Brissett situation. You saw him in yesterday's game. And he's never going to be, the starter. And if he is, it's not going to be for long. But he's the insurance policy. But, that's the best you could hope for, is to pray to the baby Jesus that somebody drops a quarterback like Huntley, and that's what the word
Huntley's going to work.
The Vikings were taking a look.
I bet they were. They probably want Huntley.
Because they just don't have anything right now. So that's really tough. Very, very difficult. As far as the receiving core of the Cleveland Browns, I am never going to be sold on. Well, I mean, Amari Cooper, I'm sold on. All right. And Njoku, I feel a whole lot better about than maybe I did a year or two ago. But after that, you've got a couple of guys that what can I tell you? I mean,
question marks.
Yeah, you're getting former New York Jets guys. A guy like Elijah Moore doesn't get it for me. I don't think that he is a breakaway kind of guy, a downfield kind of guy. Cedric Tillman, if he doesn't prove himself this year, he's just going to be another in a long line of third round failure wide receiver choices by the Cleveland Browns. And now it's Jamari Thrash, who had 45 yards or 43 yards in receptions in the first preseason game, who has 4.46 speed, who appears to have good hands. He's catching the ball, and he has a history at every college that he played at of having a very good run after catch kind of percentage.
Every college? Like he was at multiple colleges?
Yes, he was. Jamari Thrash went to Louisville for a big part of his career, but in college. But he played 4 seasons at Georgia State, and then he used his 5th and final year of eligibility at Louisville.
Wow.
And he caught 63 passes for 858 yards, 13.6 per reception. But the interesting stat on him is when he was at Georgia State, he averaged 6.8 yards per reception, and it was 6.7 per reception of yards after catch, not of the distance of the receptions, but that's how many yards he gained after he caught the ball. So it was the same whether he was at Georgia State or at the 1 year at Louisville. So maybe there's a chance that he could do something unlike Elijah Moore, who can't do anything with the ball, running east or west or anything. He just doesn't have a feel for where he's supposed to cut or any of that. He's a catch the ball and fall down guy, like David Bell, who's catch the ball, fall down, and get injured.
He's dead, isn't he?
I don't know what the story is. Wow. It's here's somebody.
Something happened with his knee on the he took to his shin, and then
got killed.
They were talking about him being cut. And I answered that guy's question in the chat. So they didn't bring back Flacco because they gave him an insulting offer, and then he went and signed with the Dolts. Hey there.
So where is he now, Flacco?
He's in Indianapolis.
Oh,
he's backing up Richardson in Indianapolis.
All right. Well, that's good for him. I mean,
she was there and gone.
So obviously, Michelle can't get her microphone to work.
It's just
I'm here. You're letting me in. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm letting you in.
I'm
gonna let her in.
It's like opening up Pandora's box.
Let her in between my legs. In between my
Send
legs.
in the clowns. What's up, big boy?
Man, it's been a while.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is like the good old days. Football season's around the corner, and like returning home.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna join you every Friday, and we're gonna make it work. I got a job at B-Dubs because I'm a fat piece of shit loser that has no life, and I had to get a fucking third career. And
what's B-Dubs?
Buffalo Wild Wings. I'm gonna get paid to watch sports, baby.
Do they give you a discount? Like, can you get
Hold
like,
on,
all the
but I
wings you
live.
can eat?
Guess where I am in fucking Michigan? So like, I'm just gonna be
Really?
a menace. Yeah, every Saturday
where in
and
Michigan
Sunday.
are you?
I'm in Lansing. I shouldn't say that out loud.
No, that's okay
I've
because
got
Lansing's a
stalkers.
large area. Yeah, Michigan State. Yeah, I mean,
I got Stady. I got Sparty fans. I got UM fans, and like I just love to fuck with all of them, and it's so fun. I'm gonna have such a blast. And I was like, I gotta get back with Moo because
how in the hell did you go from a West Coaster to being in Michigan?
Well, you know, when your sailor cheats on you and fucking winds up with a 20-something, you know, life happens and you wind up in the state up north that you never fucking imagined you'd ever wind up in. So here we are.
Yeah, you know, your sailor's going to have to eat a lot of spinach to keep up with the girl now, huh?
Yeah, good for her. I mean, she's a sweet girl. I can't complain. She's a sweet girl. She takes care of him. She treats him better than I ever did. That's for goddamn sure. So that's okay.
There you go.
Hey, you're a good sport about it.
Yeah, no, she's sweet, and I'm grateful for her. So, you know, I can't complain. And
Are you
Yeah,
going
so I
to
was like, hey, if I got to get a job, I'm going to go fucking work where I can get paid to watch sports and wear my colors in the state up north, and they can all suck my dick. So that's what I do.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So, in essence, you
Wow.
will be
A menace.
reading
No.
palms on the side and then doing the BW3 thing.
Yeah, and in fact, I've picked up a lot of people that like I love when people walk in. Like I got the other day, I had 4 people walk in Ohio State stuff, and I just was like, OH, and they were like, IO, and I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, where you want to sit? You can sit anywhere you want. Shots on me. Like we're gonna fuck this place up. Like we're gonna fucking just be menaces all year. I don't give a fuck. And they can't fire me because I got like 7 stalkers that are obsessed with me, and I make them so much money. So it's gonna be a fun football season. That's
Oh,
why I says
that's
I gotta get
wonderful.
back here. Yeah. I was like, schedule me for every Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and make sure that I'm here on every game day. And you can't yell at me because you're allowed to wear your own. They're like, oh, you can wear your team shirts on game day. So guess what?
Oh, wow.
My team ain't your team, but I'm gonna wear it and I'm gonna piss everybody off, and it's gonna be fun.
Well, it
Wow.
sounds like you're in great rare form and your spirits are high.
Yeah,
So,
I can't
glad you're enjoying.
complain. I missed you guys so fucking much. I can't even tell you.
well, we've been here all along. You are free to
I've
join
just
us at
been
any time.
I know I just been working so much. I think this is my first day off in like 3 weeks, so I haven't had a chance. And every time I watch the Guardians at work, they lost. And when I stopped asking them to put them on, they started winning again. So I'm bad luck. You know how it goes,
Yeah, well, that's been the case the whole time.
right? Forever.
That explains the husband. So, okay.
Hey,
Hey, I mean, hey.
hey, yeah. You know what? That's okay. I'm never gonna get married again. I'm
But,
never ever get married again.
Jamari Thrash is a guy I'm interested in only for one reason, and that's that David Bell can't stay healthy. And I want to see him in the preseason. Of course, last year we were talking about another guy who looked like he was going to be an answer for us, and then we never heard from him again. And I've forgotten his name
You've
because,
forgotten his name.
yeah, but he just
Why?
why have I forgotten his name? Because I'm
No.
old and I am senility.
No, I feel that. I mean, why? You mean like why didn't he pan out?
I don't know. He caught everything that was thrown at him in the preseason, but then they dumped him. Whether he was a problem child, I don't
Maybe.
know. But
They're good at that. They're good at like, letting people thrive in the preseason and look like they're going to be something, and then like, they're shit, or like,
but he
then
didn't land anywhere. I mean, it wasn't like he ended up doing anything anywhere. So I mean, he was an arena football league guy, I think. I mean, he was a guy who was I'm forgetting
more
his
worried
name.
that we're not going to have anybody that's going to be able to throw a fucking ball. I mean, I got spoiled last year. My mom kicked the bucket, and then Joe Flacco took us to the playoffs, and I was like, what the fuck is life? Like Joe Flacco of all fucking people. I'm getting behind
How
Joe
did Joe
Flacco.
How did Joe Flacco and your mother kicking the bucket hit the same sentence?
Because she died, and then like he took us to the playoffs, and it was really weird. And I was like, I
Were those
hate
two
this
events
dude.
somehow like?
Yeah, it was like the same week. It was really weird.
Wow.
I don't
sorry to
know.
hear that.
No, it's all
Well,
good. It happens.
the same kind of thing happened in 2002. My dad dies, then the Ohio State Buckeyes end up winning a championship with the vest, and the Browns actually made the playoffs with Kelly Holcomb.
Kelly
Wow.
Holcomb. God damn, I haven't heard that name in 500
Really
years.
lousy barbecue sauce too.
And it's like weird because it's like, you think like, how am I supposed to get behind this dude? Like Jameis Winston, FSU, get the fuck out of here. I hate this dude. Like I haven't liked him because like I'm a Buckeye, and then it's like, Deshaun fucking
Yeah, you went to Free
like
Shoo
nah.
Jew.
Like I can't get behind either of these dudes. Like they haven't given me enough to believe in either of them, and it really worries me because like I like their energy. Like I see, okay, they mic up Jameis and they're trying to like put him up on social media and hype him up, but I remember he's a piece of shit, and I remember he's not that good. So I'm not that convinced that
here's the thing.
we've got. What, Daddy? What is it, Daddy?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson got crabs one way, and Jameis Winston stole his. Okay,
them.
It was lobsters. It was lobsters, Father.
No, it's
Those are
crabs.
I think it was crab legs.
It was.
Oh, you're right. It was crab legs.
The man
You're
had
right.
crabs.
Holy shit! I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, it was crab legs. You're right. My bad.
Austin Watkins Jr. Thank you, Bronk.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bonrick.
I did want to get the word in edgeways because there's no way I was going to get that in.
I know. I never shut up. You know that.
All right, so I'm hoping that in tomorrow's game, that Jamari Thrash might, if there's somebody who can throw the ball toward him, we'll see.
He is the new Watkins Jr., though, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is these games don't mean anything, and they're really just people who are looking to get on a practice squad. When you're a 5th round pick and you're with a team that has a group of receivers who are coming back from the previous year, there's no room for you, and you're hoping to make a practice squad. That's what Jamari Thrash is trying to do. So,
well,
what do you think about?
They really need to practice the kickoffs more.
Wow.
What do you think about Amari? Do you think he's going to have a little chip on his shoulder, knowing that he was about to be traded, and like
we don't know for sure that he was about to be traded? And Brandon Ayuk hasn't made up his mind about anything, and he keeps
stay where he's at. Yeah, but do you think that Amari's going to have like a little chip on his shoulder and kind of like not give a fuck? Because we've seen that through the 80s and 90s. You know,
he's a professional.
He and Bake would have been so freaking amazing. I still miss him.
The actual cancer patient 0 is going to be fucking Jerry Jeudy in the receiving room.
Why?
That's his character. He is a malcontent.
Yeah, I don't. What I'm not sure about with him is what his whole story was. But yeah, he wasn't happy where he was, but he was in Denver, wasn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
I wouldn't be happy with that either. I mean, they couldn't get,
Yeah, but he was picking fights with Steve Smith and all kinds of other stuff too. So,
yeah, I'm, again,
he's really got a bad case of bunny ears.
Yeah. Well, what was happening there? I mean, they rid themselves of Russell Wilson, and now the Steelers are hoping that Russell Wilson will somehow, start the season for them. And Justin Fields, who didn't have a horrible game, was called out by Tomlin for making some mistakes. Yeah. And saying,
no way,
we can't have any of that.
I would take both of them over both of our quarterbacks any fucking second. I would take both of them. Yes.
You know what I heard about Justin Fields? Fields, they're trying to undo the damage that was done in Chicago. They're trying to get him to go back to the same release and the same drop back as he was doing at OSU.
Wow.
Yeah.
That can't be a good thing.
4 years ago.
That's like telling Steve Young not to fucking throw the ball the way that he does. Like, he's a lefty with a fucking a certain like riz, as what the kids is saying right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just has like a move, and to tell you not to do that is some bullshit. You got to move, use it, and I would take both of those two over our QB1 and QB2 any fucking day.
Now, here's something. The New England Patriots coach, Jared Mayo. You're saying the Patriots coach without saying Belichick. Is that amazing?
They can't. I don't think they're allowed to. It's a
breaks the rules of theology. Yeah. Jared Mayo said that rookie quarterback Drake May definitely took a step forward in the team's 14-13 loss to the Eagles. And that the competition for the starting job is definitely not over. May has been the number 2 option behind Jacoby Brissett. This is Jared Mayo saying, oh God, please don't leave me with Jacoby Brissett as my first string quarterback.
Who was the coach that we had when it was every week was a QB decision? I can't even remember because it feels so long ago. But every week it's like we're not going to announce who's quarterbacking this week.
Yeah, like they're going to
'cause-
outsmart the league. You know?
Yeah,
Neither
like,
of them can fucking
you're
play.
dog shit, dude.
So basically, here was the definite step forward that Mayo took, or excuse me, that May took.
Mayo.
Yeah. He played 4 series, finished 6 of 11 for 47 yards.
Wow.
I could do
That's
that.
good.
Shit. I'm a girl. Supposedly.
Have you done the test?
I'm not 100% sure that you're being truthful with us.
I don't know. Would the IBF say you are?
IBA.
I mean,
IBA.
everybody's social security number's been stolen. Why don't you look
WBA.
it up and check it out? You know?
You know what I heard? I heard that she was like getting autoerotic watching the women's boxing in the Olympics.
No, I felt so bad for the girl that surrendered against that other girl because it was like, I get it, you know, like I used to get in bar fights. I used to beat girls' fucking asses, but it's like, man, I'm 43. I can't I'm scared to get hit.
Yeah, you'd
anymore.
get your ass kicked now.
I will fucking fall to the ground. So I get it.
Wow.
Oh man, I don't want to get hit no more. I felt bad for her, but I feel bad for the other girl too, that people are talking shit about her, that, you know, that she's not a girl, and like that's not fair. Because when I was in 8th grade, because I thought that Brad Pitt with long hair and long eyelashes wasn't hot, they called me a BD, and I had pictures of athletes all over my house because I liked boys. So I get it.
You know,
I totally get it.
the Australian woman breakdancer, you know what it reminded me of? She was like doing an impersonation of post-Parkinson's disease Neil Diamond.
Wow.
If he fell down on the floor and was trying to get up.
As Ironside fell out of his chair.
Yeah, it's a bit like.
And Mark
when-
wasn't
when-
in the room.
Yeah, when
Mark,
Moonlight fell out of
Mark.
his chair.
Mark, and he
Somebody
wasn't
get-
around.
Pick me up and put me
Pick
in
me
my chair.
A cow is down. A
Cow is down.
is down. Somebody help me.
How did that even happen? They're like, she was in world championships before she got elected to get to the Olympics. I don't even know what world championships she was in, but
Wow.
I grew up with breakdancing, and that ain't it.
That
Yeah,
ain't
that's
it.
where you're
And,
a
you
hero.
know, but there was, you know what she needed? It was a life call alert.
Wow.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
That's what it looked like. I mean, it looked like a fish flopping in a boat after it got caught.
So it looks like a
Wow.
goldfish that jumped out the tank and my dog bit and ate, and my sister pulled it out of its mouth. Like it was even.
Oh.
Yeah, that thing had more
Oh.
movement than she did. Like she was just
Oh.
wild.
Yeah. It was,
Ray Gunn.
oh, by the way, Zadarius
Yeah.
Smith is back and practicing. So
Is he?
that's one defensive end we're getting back. and
That's
a good
good.
thing. And the last thing I wanted to mention before I get out of here, because I got to take Rocks to dinner.
Oh.
Baseball is trying it again. You know, everything's good about the game being faster now.
Yeah.
That they've got
Oh,
the
absolutely.
pitch clock. Now they're discussing a 6-inning minimum for starting pitchers.
Terrible.
Now I
Oh.
don't understand, with all these people who are already destroying their arms, how this is
No.
Yep.
going to help. And to make matters worse, I don't understand that it's like, well, you started him, asshole. He's given up 10 runs. You got to keep him out here.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
what
get putting him in the bullpen for a certain amount of pitches just to keep him loose, but this is absolutely
No.
a horrible idea.
Yeah.
And just like every other thing that they've implemented, it's going to destroy the game more and more and
you're
more.
going to end up with a mercy rule.
This is why I quit putting Junior
Exactly.
in like travel ball, tournament ball. I said, you know what? You're not pitching anymore. I think it was a few years ago. I said, you're not pitching anymore. And he's got an arm. That kid has a cannon. He's 15 now. Can you believe it? Junior's
15.
15. I know.
15.
Hey, I
Junior
had a
is
cannon when
15.
I was 15.
And yeah, I bet you did. You still do, Daddy. But
was
you
like,
know
oh.
what? Like I said, you know what? You're not having Tommy John at 20. We're not doing it. We're not. This isn't going to be your life. You got so many talents and so many other things to do. I'm not destroying your body for this
Wow.
game.
He's
So
15? I'm
he's
still in shock.
15.
He was like in first grade when
I know he
the
just started
heyday of
freshman year. Can you even believe it? He just started freshman
no,
year. I
You know
know.
what I don't
no.
understand?
How we got old.
No, Tommy John's wife had
Tommy
Tommy John
Shut
multiple
up.
times. Multiple
Yeah, she
times.
had the Tommy
I mean,
John
people keep saying, well, how many times could you have that? Well, she had it hundreds of times.
all the time. Yeah.
Moo, you're a filthy pig. I mean,
Thank
a
you.
filthy cow.
Thank you.
Well,
Wait, do you
hey,
still have
hey,
the
it could be worse. He could
BCOD?
have turned into Dave Dravecki.
Do you still have
Oh,
the
God.
BCOD? Put the
It's in
BCOD
Florida.
up.
No,
Where
I
is
don't
it?
bring him on airplanes. I'm in Ohio
Oh,
right now.
He's
I'm in
got the
Ohio.
hedge
you're in
fund dude.
Ohio?
Oh, I didn't tell you?
Holy shit! What in the fuck?
Yeah, I've been
Mark
half a
decided to
year.
go back home again.
Half a year in Northeast Ohio, and Rox and I got a house here and down in Florida, so I go back and forth. So
Well,
yeah,
I'll be goddamned. What part of Ohio are you in? The good part or the fake part?
I'm in the
Well-
inner city of Akron, and I duck a lot. No, I'm well, I don't tell anybody exactly where I'm at, but
But
can
you're
put-
not in like Cincinnati or some bullshit like
Oh
that.
no, 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 no,
Kentucky.
no! I'm in Northeast
Okay.
Ohio.
You're where
I'm
you
in-
belong.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be goddamned.
where I'm at. I'm in Beechwood. There, all of my brethren are. I'm gonna go to Temple. I'm gonna have a corned beef sandwich. I'm gonna have a chicken noodle soup
From
with the
Slyman.
matzo balls.
Oh God,
Oy.
what I wouldn't do for some matzo. Fucking, I miss the neighborhood. Oh man, I miss
Yeah.
living in Richmond Heights when I was in the hospital and I had the Orthodox and I had the best food ever.
Yeah, but I can tell you, I'm 30 minutes away from
Goddamn.
where I grew up in Canton, Ohio. I'm 30 minutes from the suburbs of Cleveland. I'm about 35, 40 minutes from Amish country.
On
And
100 acres and a 300 fucking house, 300 bedroom house, like
yeah. I don't want
You're
somebody
living
coming here
you're
torching my
living
house.
amongst the football players, aren't you?
No.
Yeah, you
No,
are.
no.
Yeah.
How can I get you?
If
You're
Chief
not just
Njoku
right.
is your neighbor, I need you to give him my number.
Yeah,
He'd
Because
sort you out.
that's my jam. If you live anywhere near David Njoku, give him my number.
okay. I'll tell him. I'm sure that he'll jump at that.
I'm sure he won't because I'm old and fat and ugly. So
Well, but I mean, hey, what can
never
I
know.
say? I've lost weight. I'm still old and fat and ugly. So,
but at least I know sports.
hey,
Correct.
Mr.
And that's
Wood,
the only
you got-
reason these idiots in Michigan hit on me every day at B-Dubs is because I talk sports and it blows their mind and I have all my teeth. So that's cool. They're not used to that.
Hey,
only have
Mr.
5
Moohead, you got a
fingers.
face for radio.
I got a face for radio too, baby.
Yeah, I hear it all the time, Fuck
I've been
those-
hearing that for 35 years when I was
Yeah.
told I wasn't pretty enough for ESPN.
It's pretty bad when a guy's fucking you, Michelle, and he says, God, you remind me of Babe Ruth.
Wow. The later years. Anyway.
Oh, God. All
It
right.
was because of the
Oh, we got
stogie
here
I
from the
had
big
in my
daughter.
teeth.
I got to get out of here. Roxy's
That's
going to
because
kill
of
me.
the
We got to go to dinner.
stogie. I
All
shouldn't
right.
have had that stogie in my mouth,
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio.
Love you, Moo Moo.
Nice seeing you too. And we'll be back again come Monday. Until then,
Moo.
hasta
Moo.
la vista,
That's
faster heads.
when we'll be doing the post game show. So,
Good night.
Moo.
all right.